Hello everyone. Welcome back to Iron Sentinel. Tonight we step into a storm that could change the entire balance of power across the Middle East. What began as whispers of explosions in Israel has now spiraled into reports that Russia and Iran together struck a Mossad facility, shaking the very foundation of Israel's intelligence network. The news isn't just about one strike, it's about what it could unleash. A chain reaction that might ignite the beginning of a new war across the region. What happens when the most feared intelligence service in the world suddenly finds itself vulnerable, caught off guard by a coordinated attack that many thought was impossible? The consequences are terrifying, and tonight we peel back the layers to understand what this means for Israel, for its enemies, and for the entire world. The exterior of this event was brutal, visible, and unmistakable. Flames lit up the sky above Tel Aviv as sirens screamed through the streets while eyewitnesses described a thunderous blast that rattled buildings miles away. Satellite imagery allegedly captured the aftermath: ruins, shattered complexes, and vehicles tossed aside like toys. Israel's government scrambled to contain the narrative, but the pictures circulating online told their own story. What had been thought of as an impenetrable fortress suddenly looked broken, scarred, and bleeding. The visual impact alone was enough to send a wave of panic through Israeli citizens and shock through military analysts worldwide. Inside, the reality was even worse. The Mossad facility, long rumored to be one of Israel's most secretive intelligence command hubs, was supposed to be protected by multiple underground layers and reinforced with cutting-edge surveillance. Yet, the attackers cut through those defenses with terrifying precision. Drones slipped past detection, jamming devices blinded sensors, and missiles struck with accuracy that stunned observers. For decades, Mossad has operated from the shadows, controlling narratives, and executing operations across the globe. But for the first time in living memory, the inside of Mossad's shield was pierced, exposing a vulnerability that Israel never wanted the world to see. The performance of this operation left analysts speechless. Iranian drones already tested on the battlefield in Ukraine demonstrated new levels of efficiency when paired with Russian electronic warfare and missile technology. Each strike was timed to perfection, overwhelming Israel's defenses in a coordinated assault that looked more like a choreographed military exercise than a random attack. Radar systems went dark in seconds, interceptors launched but missed, and communications faltered as electronic interference scrambled Israel's response. The performance was not just destructive, it was surgical, methodical, and chillingly effective. Military strategists are already calling it one of the most precise joint operations ever carried out by non-Western powers in recent decades. Safety features, the very backbone of Israel's survival, seem to collapse in real time. For years, the Iron Dome has been portrayed as an impenetrable shield, intercepting rockets with deadly accuracy. But tonight that shield looked cracked. Some drones flew undetected, some missiles found their way through, and systems designed to protect Israel's skies faltered. The Arrow and David Sling defense networks, supposedly Israel's higher-tier guardians, were also outmaneuvered by electronic jamming that blinded their radars. The entire concept of invincibility that Israel has sold to its people and the world suddenly appeared hollow. If Russia and Iran truly hold the keys to bypassing these defenses, Israel faces an existential threat unlike anything it has experienced in decades. The unique selling point of this operation wasn't just its military success, it was the symbolism. For years, Israel has carried out assassinations of scientists, secret strikes on enemy soil, and sabotage missions deep inside foreign territories, often without facing direct retaliation. That era might now be over. Russia and Iran, united by a common enemy and emboldened by technological prowess, have sent a message so loud that it cannot be ignored. Israel is no longer untouchable. The psychological impact of this strike could be even greater than the physical damage. Suddenly, Israel's adversaries see a new possibility that the intelligence giant with eyes and ears everywhere can bleed, can be exposed, and can be struck at its heart. That realization alone may change the strategies of nations from Lebanon to Syria, from Yemen to Qatar. But what is the price of such an audacious attack? Retaliation is inevitable. Israel's history shows it never leaves a strike unanswered, and this time the stakes are even higher. Already, speculation swirls about how Israel might respond. Will it unleash its air force across Iranian soil, risking a direct confrontation with Tehran? Will it call upon the United States and NATO allies to apply overwhelming pressure on Russia, escalating tensions in Ukraine and beyond? Or will it turn its fury toward proxy battlefields striking Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Syria, or even Yemen, hoping to send a warning without igniting a global inferno? The price is unpredictable, but it will be enormous, measured not only in destroyed infrastructure and military losses, but also in the human lives that will inevitably be caught in the crossfire. The Middle East is a powder keg, and this strike may have been the spark that sets it ablaze. Consider the cascading dominoes waiting to fall. Hezbollah, already bristling with tens of thousands of rockets, might see this as the perfect opportunity to unleash its arsenal against northern Israel. Hamas, emboldened by the blow against Mossad, could coordinate fresh strikes from Gaza. Yemen's Houthis, equipped with increasingly sophisticated missiles, might push the southern front into chaos. In Syria, long a battleground for Israeli airstrikes, may finally receive backing from Moscow to resist. The strike on Mossad wasn't just about Israel. It was about opening multiple fronts, stretching Israel's defenses to their limit, and forcing the West to make difficult choices. The open question that keeps analysts awake tonight is whether this strike was meant as a single shock or the opening salvo of a sustained campaign. Was this operation a warning shot designed to rattle Israel and demonstrate alliance power, or was it the first domino in a long chain of events carefully planned by Moscow and Tehran? If it's the latter, then what we saw tonight could be only the beginning. A prologue to a conflict that might engulf the region and draw in major world powers. The thought of Russia and NATO clashing indirectly through Middle Eastern battlefields is not just terrifying, it is the nightmare scenario that could spiral into global war. As terrifying as this sounds, the audience must understand why this matters. Beyond the borders of Israel, energy routes, oil supplies and global trade all flow through the Middle East. A war here doesn't just mean missiles in Tel Aviv. Means oil prices spiking, shipping lanes disrupted, economies shaking and ordinary people across the globe feeling the shockwave. When the Middle East burns, the entire world feels the heat, and tonight the flames are already rising. This moment forces us to ask, is the world ready for the collapse of Israel's intelligence aura? If Mossad, the feared hand in the shadows, can be struck at its core, then no intelligence agency is safe, no fortress is truly secure. For decades, Mossad's image has been its greatest weapon, a reputation that struck fear into the hearts of enemies and respect into the minds of allies. That reputation has now been dented, maybe even shattered, and the psychological fallout may be far worse than the physical rubble. The next days will decide everything. If Israel retaliates with full force, the Middle East may never return to its uneasy balance. If it hesitates, it risks emboldening its enemies further, inviting even more daring strikes. Either path is dangerous, and the clock is ticking. The entire world is watching to see if this was an isolated strike or the first shots of a wider war. For now, the streets of Tel Aviv echo with sirens. The ruins of Mossad's facility smolder in silence, and a new question haunts every corner of the region. Has the next Middle East war already begun? And if so, how far will it spread? The answer is not yet clear, but the warning has already been delivered. Russia and Iran have crossed a line. Mossad has been struck and the fragile balance of power is crumbling. What follows may define not only the future of the Middle East, but also the shape of global conflict in the years to come. Stay alert because the story is only just